Ghostbusters Afterlife was both nostalgic and refreshing. Dust off your proton packs and board the ECTO-1 because Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 is on the way. Ghostbusters Afterlife follows a family of three as they move into an inherited home in the middle of nowhere. They soon discover their family's legacy as Ghostbusters and are forced into the risky situation of having to save the small town and, of course, the world. Sony officially announced a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife last month, and now the studio has set a release date for what's being described as the next chapter in the Spengler family story. Ghostbusters Afterlife's end credits hinted that the live-action sequel would return to the firehouse and New York City setting from the first movie, and earlier this month on Ghostbusters Day. Reitman and co-writer Gil Kenan confirmed it as well. Given that the 2016 reboot wasn't quite successful enough to warrant a sequel, a Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel could be very thrilling. After 1989, the franchise ended up taking a nearly 30-year pause from the big screen, raising questions about whether Ghostbusters Afterlife will be its true cinematic revival or if it will remain dormant once more. Given the significant time gap between Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters Afterlife, it appears to be a true revival. With such a long period, there are numerous potential storylines and events that can be explored. Reitman's comments demonstrate that he understands Ghostbusters Afterlife raise questions that can only be answered with a sequel, and they give viewers hope that plans are in the works to bring the franchise to an end.
I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, which takes place 32 years after the events of 1989's Ghostbusters 2, was finally released in November 2021 after several delays. The sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife will be released earlier than expected, just in time for the holiday season next year. The release date has been set for December 20th, 2023, according to Aaron Couch of The Hollywood Reporter. Given that Ghostbusters Afterlife was released in November 2021, that's an incredibly quick comeback, which must mean that filming of the sequel is probably almost finished. Callie and Phoebe Spengler, a mother-daughter team, are most likely to return for the sequel, though we're unsure of which cast members will reprise their roles. The absence of Wolfhard, if he's preoccupied with other activities, would be easily explained by the fact that Trevor, his character, is going to college. It's uncertain whether Rudd will make a comeback, but we do know it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. Another source of speculation will be whether or not any of the original cast members will return. Rick Moranis' Louis Tully steps up and joins the Ghostbusters team in the 1989 sequel to the original Ghostbusters. He would be a fantastic addition, even though he's been out of the acting business for a while now. We'd be shocked if Ernie Hudson isn't in it, considering his role in restoring Ecto-1 and the fire station where it appears to be set. The new movie, which will take place where it all began, is expected to draw the Spengler family back to Manhattan in New York City. The official Ghostbusters Twitter account revealed that a new film will be released under the codename Firehouse, a reference to the original Ghostbusters 1980s headquarters, which was also seen in an end credits sequence after the latest film. That sequence, in fact, gives us the best indication of what to expect in Afterlife 2. The logo on the Ecto-1 vehicle in Ghostbusters 2 is a ghost holding up two fingers, as opposed to the logo in the original Ghostbusters film, which is a ghost holding up one finger. The logo in Ghostbusters Afterlife is back to having just one finger up, implying that there was a time when Egon changed the logo after Ghostbusters 2, and Reitman has already stated that he plans to answer this question in a potential sequel. The past and the present can develop in a variety of fascinating ways, both side by side and separately. Former Buster Winston Zedmore purchased the New York fire station, which appears to still have an active containment unit in the basement. Disaster strikes, providing a solid ground for a sequel. In fact, Ghostbusters Afterlife served as a trial study to see if the legacy of poltergeist zapping would be passed down to a new generation.
You went with station wagon?
It's the only one that had an engine.
Phoebe Spengler, a descendant of Egon Spengler, effectively carried on the proton pack where her predecessors had left off. Egon passed on not only his intelligence but also his curiosity to his granddaughter. Phoebe was portrayed as emotionally reserved, but she demonstrated that she and Egon shared love of exploration, research, and connection. Her sharp mind is offset by her awkward social skills. Time will undoubtedly pass before the sequel is released. As a result, when Phoebe returns, she'll most likely have matured into a confident young scientist, perfecting what her grandfather and his team of Ghostbusters had started. Afterlife spent a significant amount of time attempting to solve the mystery surrounding Phoebe's family history, but the sequel is now capable of exceeding this standard. Because they allegedly had some experience investigating paranormal activity, Phoebe and her brother Trevor can take on the role in a structured, professional manner. One of the Ghostbusters Afterlife's criticism was the reused Gozer defeating plot. Even though watching Paul Rudd transform into a demon dog and hearing Venkman's signature banter during the film's crucial battle was entertaining, the sequel's antagonist should be a new face. However, it's possible that this won't take place. Vigo's return would be a fantastic comeback because he's undoubtedly the scariest of the main original villains. However, making him the main villain once more would jeopardize the new path that Phoebe and her team are carrying. In the world of the supernatural, there's still so much to discover. There's a lot of ground to cover whether a new villain is based on legend or something brand new and entirely original. When compared to Vigo in Ghostbusters 2, both of these characteristics were present. This is why having him appear in the follow-up could work. In the final scene, Winston can be seen wandering through the ruins of the firehouse, possibly considering a different use for the spot. Furthermore, he's unaware that the basement's ghost containment unit, which appears to be holding something, is still functional. Slimmer, perhaps? However, we think that this is laying the groundwork for a story in which Winston leads a Ghostbusters team based in a corporation, leading to more adventures in New York and at least having Hudson as the boss. In addition, as the final scene begins, a short clip of deleted video from the 1984 film shows Janine Melnitz handing Egon a 1964 World's Fair souvenir medallion. The incident occurred as Egon and the other men prepared to fight Gozer at the top of Central Park West. Then the scene cuts to the present, where Janine is holding the additional medallion she mentioned owning and is still thinking of the Honorable Dr. Spengler. After the young Spengler family receives closure regarding their ancestry and learns about their grandfather's past, the children find out that they are the next generation of Ghostbusters as they battle a supernatural threat that affects both their new home and the entire world. Since the sequel's action is expected to take place in New York City, the setting of the first two Ghostbusters films, as well as any potential new world that they may be creating. This is the time to completely break free from nostalgia, since Egon Spengler's ghost has now been put to rest both literally and figuratively, and it's generally believed that villain Gozer and probably Bill Murray's Peter Venkman have also left us. Why not allow the Ghostbusters to build their own identities in a different city and with a different style if they must continue, and accomplish this through the adventures of Egon's daughter and her kids, who are still distant from him. Before Ivan Reitman passed away, he and Jason Reitman discussed Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. Jason explained that they talked about what they wanted to see happen to the Spengler family, and even outside the Spengler family. He also said that you need to smash that subscribe button and notification bell, so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. No, but seriously, it looks like Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 will focus more on the Spengler family and their everyday lives. See you in the next video.